What do Chihuahuas and Great Danes have in common? They both share the same common ancestor, the wolf. Although wolves have been considered evil beasts, they are very social creatures with similarities to humans. I know from my family, we consider our dog Milo a part of our family, and I can tell he feels the same. But other dog-owning families may not realize that familial bond is a trait shared with their wolf ancestors. I have been captivated by wolves for years and have taken it upon myself to learn as much as I can. So today I'd like to give you all some information about wolves. First, these top predators have similarities to humans. Also, the predators have important roles in ecosystems. And finally, how these amazing creatures are trying to recover from the brink of extinction. While Grimm and even the Christian Bible depict wolves as evil beasts, they overlook the truth of the amazing creatures. These top predators have similarities to humans with remarkable emotional depth. Mary Beth Holloman's book, Among Wolves, Gordon Haber's insights into Alaska's most misunderstood animal, tells his most important find. The foundation of the wolf's social structure is family. Haber also explains that wolf pack is not an accurate term. Wolves live in groups made up of extended families. Inside these groups, they have their own vocal communication, their howling. Haber mentions some reasons they howl: to establish their group's territory, to reunite with scattered hunting parties, to maintain group bonds, and express their emotions. Did you know that wolves have emotional bonds to their families like humans? Wolves are monogamous creatures like most humans too. They court their mate for 10 to 14 days, and they even like to cuddle. Males are protective of their mates, just like guys can be over their girls. And just like humans, they feel heartbreak at the loss of their mates. Holloman used Haber's witnessing this devastating loss a mate can feel in her book. A chocolate alpha male remained near his trapped mate for 2 weeks until the trapper killed her and took her away. After realizing she was no longer there, he returned to their natal den 14 miles away, only to return to her death site the next day. His mate died in February 2004, and for weeks he obsessively visited her death site. His search continued until April 2004, when he was shot near the area he lost his mate. Wolves are also attached to their pups. It may take a village to raise a child, but it takes a wolf group to raise a wolf pup. As I mentioned before, wolf groups are extended families, and they equally raise the pups of the group. The family provides food and protection for their pups. They also nurture and play with them before teaching them the necessary discipline for hunting. These pups will become apex predators that actually provide benefits to nature despite what many believe. These predators have important roles in ecosystems. In John Collins' article, Do We Need Wolves?, he uses American zoologist Robert Payne to prove that wolves are beneficial to an ecosystem. Payne coined the term trophic cascade to explain how top predators such as the wolf can have a positive effect on the environment. George Monbiot backed Payne's term with proof from Yellowstone National Park and how positively they changed the ecosystem. The wolves ate the mule deer and elk, which promoted new vegetation growth along riverbanks. Trees and shrubs were resistant to erosion, which kept rivers channeled and provided food for beavers. The beaver dams made pools of water, created habitats for otters, muskrats, and migratory waterfowl. The leftover from the deer and elk provided food for eagles, ravens, and other scavenging animals. Also, wolves eat coyotes, and that allows eagles, hawks, fox, and other weasel species like the badgers to find more small rodents. Collins also points out that wolves could teach humans an important lesson: moderate food intake. He quotes Peter David, a wildlife biologist for the Great Lake Indian and Fish Wildlife Commission, about wolves' moderation when it comes to deer. People sometimes get the idea that wolves dictate deer numbers, but it's more generally the other way around. Wolves cannot eat deer if the deer do not repopulate. Adult wolves actually only eat 15 to 20 deer per year, which supports healthier deer and better population numbers. These ecologically valuable hunters once had impressive population numbers, but now are disturbingly low. These amazing creatures are trying to recover from the brink of extinction. Joe Buber tells in his article, Big Bad Wolves, that there were once 2 million wolves in the United States, and yet by the 1970s, nearly every gray wolf south of Canada was gone. What changed? Colin pointed out that 10 years after European settlers arrived on the Mayflower, they had set cash incentives for every wolf killed. In John T. Coleman's book, Vicious, Wolves and Men in America, he speculates that perhaps the wolf hunts began from European folklore on wolves and the need to protect settlers from wolves' evil. The hunts quickly turned into a sport and continued for decades until it was finally noticed that the wolf population was scary slim. Carlin's article tells that the shock finally sank into the government in 1974 when 4 subspecies of the gray wolf were put on the endangered species list. By 1978, the entire species was placed under protection. 34 years later, the wolves accomplished a feat 99% of other protected species may never accomplish. They were removed from the list in 2012. But good news was followed by bad news. Collins' article states that the first wolf hunt in 2012 wiped out 25% of Minnesota's wolves. This devastating blow caught the attention of wolf supporters. The federal court was then placed with the difficult decision when the Humane Society of the United States filed a lawsuit to protect the Great Lakes region's wolves. The federal court's decision of December 2014 to place the wolves back on the list caused those against the decision to feel slighted. The federal court is trying to appease those opposed to the ruling. The federal court encourages the public to use non-lethal protection methods such as flashing lights or guard animals, to name a couple. Also, they are offering compensation to anyone who loses livestock to the wolves, a generous incentive if you ask me. But how long will this ruling last to protect the species? Will it be long enough for the wolves to truly recover? Today I have informed you about these complex creatures which not only have emotional connections and family groups similar to humans, but how they are vital in ecosystems and need to have the population numbers returned to a safe range. Although I have learned much about wolves throughout the years, my connection to them strengthened during my research. Wolves are charming, spirited creatures that I passionately support. And while some overlook the beauty, I believe Collins' choice to quote Canadian naturalist and author Farley Mowat definitely speaks volumes about wolves' connections to us. We have doomed the wolf not for what it is, but for what we deliberately and mistakenly perceive it to be. The mythologized epitome of a savage, ruthless killer, which is in reality no more than a reflected image of ourselves.